Can I congratulate my honourable friend for securing this debate and welcome the announcements to the change in the assessment process announced by the Secretary of State very recently. Face-to-face assessments cause anxiety and distress amongst our constituents, and it is of paramount importance to safeguard the most vulnerable in society from undergoing assessment when their conditions are unlikely to have changed from their previous visit. Often, as a constituency MP, I'm able to obtain the agreement of the DWP to paper-based reports that remove the need for face-to-face assessments, or at least get the agreement to a home consultation, but it can be a huge uphill battle to do so. And for those suffering from conditions such as MS, ME, severe autism and Asperger's, agoraphobia and a range of mental health disorders, they really shouldn't be required to submit a new claim every 2 years. And speaking specifically about those suffering from mental health conditions, it's not easy to obtain the required evidence when there is no engagement by that person with medical professionals due to their conditions. So I do think that the announcement that we're getting recently will alleviate these concerns for some claimants. And if I could very quickly draw attention to this great report by Sam H, which is, just for the Minister's information, effectively the Scottish equivalent of the charity Mind. It's a really sensible report, and what it states very clearly is that the assessment process doesn't adequately gauge the impact of mental health or other fluctuating conditions because it focuses primarily on physical impairment. The decision to integrate assessment services into one body, I think, is welcome news. That's going to streamline services and allow those applying for ESA, Universal Credit and PIP to only have to undergo one assessment rather than two. And although, obviously, the benefits assess two different matters, I think the information obtained from one assessment can be used to determine both benefit outcomes. Locally, like all of us here, I've met with several constituents who have stressed their anxiety of undergoing assessments because they do not trust the system. Many of the constituents have reassessed for both ESA and PIP every couple of years and don't get the time to focus on improving their well-being without a threat of going back for another assessment and potentially losing some or all of their benefit looming over them. And ultimately, the issue here, as lots of members have stressed, is a lack of trust and faith in the system. And is it any wonder the number of low or nil awards being given out incorrectly, not properly picking up hidden and non-physical disabilities, forcing people to battle the system that should be supporting them? And like many MPs, my office offers full advocacy support for welfare claimants from the initial application, accompanying to the assessment centre, doing appeals and representations at tribunals. And our record of success is well over 80%, which is partly due to my amazing caseworker, Jamie, but it's also ridiculous because we should be getting these decisions right first time to increase the faith and trust of vulnerable people in the assessment process. And I do think that by introducing the changes the government has outlined, we're taking a huge step to begin, and only begin, to rebuild the trust with those living with disabilities.